Go to logi.gg/Datto and use code Datto10 to save money on your next Logitech purchase. Hello everyone, now that we're done talking about builds that don't use an exotic class item, we can start talking about builds that do use exotic class items. Hooray! And today we are taking a look at hunters. Now, I'm not going to be doing a ton of specific build crafting in this video. This is just more of a breakdown of what class items I think you should hold on to and why. Hunters are eating when it comes to exotic class items, with a very wide array of perks to pick from, to the point where I'm probably not going to be able to do all of the options justice in this video. I also went over every single combination of class item anyway, and did some polls with my community on Twitch to see what class items people were farming for the most in PvE, just to get some community data and some anecdotal data. A big thing to note is that while I will be talking about perks that have synergy with each other, that is not the end-all be-all of exotic class items. There are many options out there with two non-synergistic perks, but because both perks are individually good, that is what makes the item viable. This is most notable with Spirit of Inmost Light and Star Eater for all classes, as we will discuss. Just because an item has synergy doesn't always mean it's good, and just because an item doesn't have synergy doesn't always mean that it's bad. Some key perks that hunters are going to want are Inmost Light, Assassin, Caliban, maybe Renewal as well, along with Synthocepts, Verity, Liar, and then to an even more specific degree, cyrtarachne, maybe Coyote, Star Eater, and some one-offs in between. I realize that I've mentioned like half of the perks available. That's because hunters have a ton of viable stuff. We're going to start with the most popular combo though, which is Caliban and Liar. Caliban gives you ignitions on your powered melee kills, and Liar boosts the damage of your melees. This setup plays similarly to how Liar's Handshake normally plays, it's just that now, all of your melee kills will cause an ignition. I will say that this will make stacking something like Combination Blow to 3 pretty interesting in lower tier content. You might run into some of the same frustrations as the Arc subclass version of the build, where after you kill something, there's nothing around to keep it stacked if you're spec'd for ignitions like you will be able to be in episode 1. Once you're in content with enemies that have a bit more life though, it shouldn't be a huge problem to keep it rolling. At the end of the day, being able to go around and punch stuff and have it solar ignite explode is pretty fun. You do lose the healing from Liars, but with a recuperation mod in your boots, you should be mostly okay. Liar has two other natural pairings in Inmost Light and Assassin. Inmost Light is just going to continuously trigger off of your melee and dodge combo, assuming you run Shroud and Stylish, giving you a lot of grenade energy, more grapples, more dusk fields, very, very potent. Assassin to me feels a bit redundant though, if you're running with Combination Blow and the traditional setup that it uses. It does allow you to step off of Stylish Executioner, but the weaken effect is pretty nice the more difficult the content gets. Speaking of Inmost Light, it has synergy with 6 of the 8 perks available. And the other 2 perks are Gyrfalcon and Star Eater, which are both good individual perks. Inmost Syntho tested quite highly in a community poll, again playing into a more traditional Combination Blow melee setup, but you do have room to try other melees if you wish. It's just that Syntho plays really well with Combination Blow because you need to be surrounded, and when you're using Combination Blow, you're probably going to be surrounded. We'll talk Syntho with Threaded Spike though in a moment. Inmost Verity is more of a grenade Gunpowder Gamble type setup, where you juice the hell out of your GPG to deal massive AoE damage. You can use this to charge your melees faster in combination with your dodge to restore your melee, so the dodge is going to boost Inmost as well, and you can just chain all of these together for super fast GPGs. And Verity doubles your GPG damage at max stacks. Just keep in mind your primary has to match your actual grenade type, but it's still going to work with GPG even though GPG is solar and your main grenade might not be solar. Inmost cyrtarachne has a weird thing where you can cancel your grapple to regain half of your grenade energy and then get it back by chaining something like Withering Blade and Gambler's Dodge if you're interested in some type of woven mail setup. Coyote is a bit more of a boring pick for Inmost Light. I think you can grab something a little more interesting, but maybe you just really like dodging for more melees. I don't know, maybe Coyote's your comfort zone. Cyrtarachne in Inmost is another Gunpowder Gamble based play, but a bit more defensively minded. You're gaining Woven Mail every time you throw a GPG, and you can have really high uptime on Woven Mail as a result. Wormhusk Inmost technically works. I just think you really gotta like Wormhusk in order to use it. Gyrfalcon and Star Eater with Inmost also work as just a play to get two really strong perks together, but there's some more specific stuff we'll get into with those perks in particular. Keeping with the melee theme, Synthocepts pairs nicely with Inmost, Assassin, and Caliban. Syntho Assassin is more of a spin-off of Liar Assassin. Syntho Caliban is a spin-off of Liar Caliban, but don't think you need to stay on combination blow for Syntho Caliban. People have had a lot of success with using Threaded Spike, and if you hit a lot of targets, you can recharge the bulk of your melee energy, if not all of it. Syntho will have it hitting pretty darn hard, and your ignitions will go pretty crazy here too, but with the benefit of being able to do some of that at range. In fact, Syntho Caliban was one of the highest rated setups in my community polling, and being surrounded by enemies is much more common in modern day content. Syntho Renewal are two perks that are individually good, but I've heard more buzz about a different combination that we'll discuss next, and that is with cyrtarachne. We talked about cyrtarachne with Inmost Light. Now let's build even more defense with cyrtarachne Renewal Grasps. Throw a Duskfield, you're getting Woven Mail, plus Renewal's benefits. Really, really potent defensive capabilities here, and if you want to build into GPG, you totally could here as well. Galanor's only synergy pair is Star Eaters, but I again feel like pretty much all Star Eater pairings with another super-based perk is more of a swap exotic than it is something you want to keep on all the time. At least with Galanor, you're getting a big chunk of energy back, though. However, Galanor and Gyrfalcon gives you a more typical Gyrfalcon gun-based setup with the super ability energy gains of Orpheus Rig when you pop your super, if you're maybe looking for a tether-based play. Galanor works well with Silence and Squall as well, giving you tons of super energy, assuming you hit a good amount of targets. You can use it with other supers if you really want, but those two will be able to tag the most amount of targets. Star Eaters otherwise have no synergy with anything else, but Inmost, Assassin, Caliban, maybe foetracer are all good individual perk selections that you could pair with Star Eaters if you so wish. Coyote overall, not just paired with Inmost Light, does have synergy with a few things, but I don't think Coyote was popular enough to even really place in the list that I used to poll my community about their favorite class items. However, it is still a good baseline perk, and there are plenty of directions to go in if you want to use Coyote, or maybe that's all you have. Foetracer does have some synergy with Verity, kinda, in that you're mainly shooting a weapon at a target and you need kills for Verity. It's just some extra bonus weapon damage which can free up your surges in your boots, which can be nice to roll with some other options in your boots, even if it's nothing too crazy. Otherwise, it's simply another good on its own perk, meaning you could run with another strong option as the other perk just to double up on some good stuff. Foetracer Gyrfalcon is another setup that's much more weapon focused, two individual perks, but they are both really, really solid. To wrap up any other Gyrfalcon conversation, I think the two that I've mentioned are likely the most popular, but you can of course find another strong on their own perk to match with Gyrfalcon, Inmost Light, maybe Assassin as well. Hunters also have some good PvP options with Ophidian Wormhusk, Ophidian Coyote, Dragon Wormhusk, Dragon Coyote. Plenty of stuff to explore there as well, although Hunter dominance in PvP right now isn't exactly linked to an exotic class item. That isn't to say you can't use stuff like Dragon, Ophidian, Wormhusk in PvE, but I just think there's better, more exciting stuff out there. I did also do a community poll with my stream, but knowing what I know now, I would definitely like to run the poll again with different options than I originally listed. Caliban Liar and Caliban Syntho were at the top of the list. Inmost Syntho, Star Eater Galanor, stuff like that. But there are so many options to pick from. and I didn't want to have like a poll with 20 different items and say, okay, pick one. Also, there were many combos that I put on the list that I would now remove for other things, so I just don't think the poll that I took is really the most valuable of information. It's on the screen if you want it, but it's missing several combos that we discussed here that I would probably put on that list over some other stuff. I know this was pretty dense with information, but hunters just have it so good that it's tough to summarize everything available that quickly. I'm sure there are some setups here that I either over or undersold, or maybe I just didn't even mention them at all. Be sure to hit the comments to spread some love to some of the setups that you've been enjoying, that you've been using, that I maybe didn't mention here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.